Hello everybody, this is Gregory with 5 Minute Catholic Apologetics, where 5 minutes of your time may get you to the divine. Today we're going to continue this series, how many Catholics are secularists, in fact, masquerading as Catholics. And we're going to look at wealth and attachment to new things. Now before we begin, let's start with a prayer. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritui Sancti. Amen. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto. Secutor in principio et nunc et semper et seculi seculorum. Amen. So before we begin, I do want to mention, I did a live stream with a gentleman by the name of David a few years ago, and he visited me over at the tea shop. So I want to extend an invitation. If any of you are in the New Braunfels, Texas area, that's where I live, come visit me at the tea shop. He's in fact the second subscriber or person from the Catholic channel who's come down and visited me. So I'd love to see you if you're ever down in that area. And if you want to buy tea, by all means, click on the link in the episode notes if you want to buy good quality loose leaf tea. All right, so we've talked about this before, the idea of how many of us are in fact secularists pretending to be Catholics. And what do I mean by that? I mean, we know that among Catholics, that only about 25% of self-identified Catholics even go to Sunday Mass. We did an episode on that. And if you Protestants are like, oh, look, yeah, we're better. And no, you're not. You're around the same number, same for practicing Jews. But even within that group that goes weekly, there can be this kind of complacency and this triumphalism. I'm better than other Catholics. Da, 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 da. But we don't want to have that mindset. And in fact, I would say that the majority of Christians in America are secularists, masquerading as Catholics. What do I mean? I mean that if you look at much of our views, the typical Catholic, much of our views, whether it be on abortion or euthanasia or transgender or gay marriage or belief in the real presence or a host of things, the typical Catholic, you look at the polls, show that we are no different than the non-practicing or just the agnostic/atheists. And I would tell you, look, this is what I mentioned in that first episode. The way you know if you're really a secularist masquerading as a Catholic is to look at your calendar. If your calendar really only has the only religious thing you're doing is going to Sunday Mass, then I would say you really need to look in the mirror. Because if our faith is important, if our relationship with Jesus Christ is important, the calendar should be replete with a bunch of things that we're doing. And not just prayer, but yeah, you should maybe do an Angelus morning, afternoon, and evening. Or do your, if you have a prayer homily like a Magnificat or a Benedictus, do your prayers in the morning, prayers in the afternoon, prayers in the evening. Be doing a rosary or a chaplet, volunteering, doing your works of mercy, going to daily Mass. There's a lot of things you can be doing. And if you're looking at your calendar and it's none of those things, then look, we're all working, but we all have leisure time. And if anything, this is the time in human history we've had the excess of leisure time. So during that excess of leisure time, are you mired in the ways of the world, like the prodigal son, right? Are we just watching TV, on social media, watching porn, just all this stuff that rots our brain, where we could be doing something constructive? But in this particular episode, I want to talk about signs of like attachment to things, which is a form of idolatry. So for this episode, it's more of how many of you have brand new TVs, gigantic flat screens? How many of you have a new car within the last 3-4 years, or you constantly get new cars every 3-4 years? You have to have the new iPhone or the new iPad or the new tablet or the new MacBook or the new PC. You have to have the new Gizmo, the new Apple Watch, all these things. I would say that this is an attachment to the world, to worldly possessions. And what does St. James say and John, in the Epistle of John? Both of them say, if you love the world, you hate God. And this is kind of a reflection of being a little too tethered to the world. I remember going to Mass, and I saw a person pull up in a Maserati to Mass. And you're thinking, okay, well, look, maybe this person has obviously they have a lot of money, or you would think they do. Maybe don't have, I don't know even how much of those cost, at least $100,000. I mean, you could just have a regular car and be using that money to start an apostolate. or to donate, or just something that is something that's more constructive with your money. And look, maybe that person has $1 billion net worth, and every year they give half of their revenue to charities. Maybe they do. But I have a feeling they're probably not. And it reminds me of the parable of the sower. The parable of the sower. And why is that? Remember in the parable of the sower, Christ talks about how seeds are being thrown, and some go in the rocks, some go in the thorns, and then some go in fertile soil. And remember, the ones that go into the thorns, are what? What does Christ say? They hear the message, but they're choked by worldly attachments. And I have an early video I did here back in 2021. I think the majority of us are actually seeds in the thorns. We like to think, oh, we're seeds on the fertile soil. We're these great Christians. No, I think we're all attached too much. I wouldn't say all of us, but the majority of us are attached to worldly attachments, worldly possessions, fitting in this world, worldly success. What's the definition of success? Making money, whatnot. And so I would tell you, just like I told you the first time, look through your calendar, your weekly planner, and see how much of it is devoted to prayer and going to Mass. I would say look around in your house. If you're spending a lot of money on new things, I gotta have brand new things, I would say that is a form of idolatry, because we know the church teaches that. Attachment to things, to the created instead of the creator, it's not good for us. It is not good for us. It rots us. And it can be a form of worship, how you worship these new things. Because let's be real, we don't need these new things. Oh, Gregory, my TV broke, whatever. Okay, well, you can get a reasonably priced 5-year-old TV, or a phone, or a car. And I'm not going to make myself the role model here, but I'll give you examples. This iPhone that I've been using to record my videos here, every episode I have here, on this one and on my T channel and on my other channel on weight loss, it's from an iPhone 8 that I've had 8 years. My car is 14 years old. It has duct tape on the door handles. It's a beat up car, but you know what? I'm not making payments on it, so why would I get a new car? My TV is 11 years old. And it doesn't make me like a better Catholic, but I'm just exhorting you guys, like, we don't always need to get new stuff and spend money on new things, because lots of times we buy these things because we think they're going to make us happy, and the created never makes us happy long term. Oh, if you remember Lexus, they probably still do these commercials around Christmas. The person buys them the car, and it kind of shows up with a bow on top, and the person's all happy. Normally it's the woman who gets the gift, and she's all happy. Like, oh, that'll make me happy. The next day you're like, after a little while it's like, yeah, it's great, I have a new car. But ultimately these things don't make us happy. And what we need to do is redirect. Because the only thing that truly makes us happy is a relationship with Christ. So in closing, look at your calendar. If your calendar is pretty depleted of religious things, fill it up with religious things. There's always time. And I would say the same thing. We got to be careful that we're not the seeds being choked in the thorns. It's a constant, daily thing that we need to be vigilant on, because it can sneak up on us very quickly. And I would say, look, if you're always buying new stuff and spending all this money, even if you can afford it, I would say that you need to be careful. Guys, post in the comments if you agree or disagree. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.